What is going on, YouTube? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards here for a news update on a Sunday on Mother's Day. SGC, you're just killing me. Just killing me. What are you going to do? Yeah, so this kind of came out of nowhere. SGC's dropped its prices back down to $30 a card. From the previous $75 a card. It's been about a month. Update on the website here from Peter, where they, jacked the prices to $75 a card after PSA closed down to manage their inventory / backlog. Well, they didn't have a backlog, but basically to be able to continue to maintain to hit turnaround times, and they have done that. They have not slipped on their turnaround times from the best that I have seen, so props to them. They have also said that was temporary, and they have decreased it, so props to them for that as well. So they are back down to $30 a card. The thing I do not know yet is how this affects group submissions. I know group submitters were going in for around $30 a card, I believe. So I'm not sure how this affects them, if that rate has gotten lower as well. I haven't seen anything on that yet. Other little bit of information in this announcement is that there will be a behind the scenes YouTube video dropped later today from our friends over at Sports Card Investor. So it sounds like Jeff and his team got a little sneak peek behind what's going on in SGC. So I will be curious to check that out later today / tonight. So what's the shakeouts of all this is the real question. The problem with SGC is the price difference in the resale market, and in my opinion, the bigger issue is liquidity. And I just don't know what the right card to send them is. There is a right card to send them, but it's the weird middle ground stuff. Because the lower end stuff, so like, I don't know, pick something out of a hat, like a Yordan Alvarez Topps paper, in a PSA 10 slab, it goes for about 45 or $50, which, unless you submitted it in the before times, you're not getting your money out of that either. But in an SGC slab, that same card goes for 25 to 30, maybe. And it costs $30 to grade the card. So you can't send them the super low end stuff, that you used to be able to send them at $10 a card or whatever it was back in the day, and kind of churn and burn a nice low end profit off their stuff. $30 a card plus whatever your price of the card was, anything extremely low end, there's just no home for that stuff right now. I was hoping SGC would be the home for that sort of stuff. But even at $30 a card, it just doesn't make sense, because you're not going to get your money back out of it on the lower end stuff. You'll barely be covering the cost of grading, if even, not counting whatever it costs you to get the card and, all this or that. And that's assuming you get a 10. If you catch a 9.5 or a 9, you're toast. SGC 9s basically sell for raw. SGC 9.5s get a slight premium over raw, usually around PSA 9 prices, depending on what it is. If you go the opposite direction and you look at higher end stuff, so, and not even like super higher end, but like like a job based prism or a Zion based prism or anything like that, that in a PSA slab is Zion says $500, $600. You're looking at a 30 to 40% hit in an SGC 10. So at that point, does it make sense just to wait and send it to PSA if you haven't already, and hold it and just wait for them to open back up and see how things flush themselves out? So to me, if you're going to send cards to SGC, it's PSA 10s that probably sell for $100 to $200 would be my range, because at $30 a card, plus the cost of the card, minus eBay fees, shipping, paying the ship at the SGC, paying the ship at when you sold it on eBay, this, that, and the other thing, depending on the price of the card, you need to be reselling the card for $60 at least, So I feel like that's their perfect niche, is that $70 to $100 card to a $200 to $300 card. Because also the lower the price that you get, the tighter the band seems to narrow on the resale prices. The higher the end the card you get into, the wider the gap seems to be in most cases, if you're talking SGC 10 to PSA 10. There's 100% ways you can make money grading with SGC in that middle ground stuff. The fact that they're caught up and you get your cards back quickly means you can turn inventory over quickly, which you cannot do right now with anybody, really, to be quite honest. They are really, other than HGA, which, you got to fight the Q monster to get in and slay that demon to get cards into them, and you can only do 5 at a time, so depending on your game. But there is absolutely ways that you can make money at SGC at $30 a card. Step Back Sports Cards does tons of videos on SGC flips and stuff all the time. But you have to send the right cards to them. And I mentioned it earlier in the video. To me, their biggest issue, and it's always been their biggest issue, is liquidity. As someone that has graded with SGC before and tried to sell SGC slabs, if you run them at auction, you get murdered. They just do not do well at auction. So you're forced to kind of price them fairly at best offer, buy it now, or at least what you think is fairly, and then just kind of play the waiting game. And I've had cards and SGC slabs that I've priced competitively. I usually try to price SGC 10s at around to slightly over BGS 9.5s. Somewhere in the middle of a BGS 9.5 and a PSA 10. I usually probably lean more towards closer to a BGS 9.5 price, because that's just what they sell for. And usually if I'm selling a card, I want to sell the card. I don't want to just have it sit on eBay for months on end. And I struggle, and I usually put best offer, buy it now on, and I don't even put like an auto decline option for offers. And I'll go weeks without getting offers. And this is like Luka and Ja and Zion stuff. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like in the weeds, like crazy guys. So to me, that's always been the biggest problem. You run them at auction, you usually take a bigger hit because there's just not as many eyeballs. There's not as many buyers. There's not as many people looking for SGC slabs. Overall, though, the price decrease is good. I'm never going to complain about a price decrease. But like I said, there is a niche that you could use them for. It's not my niche. I don't see myself sending them anything. Maybe I would consider sending them some Marvel cards, but at this point, I would probably just rather wait for HGA to take them or wait to see what PSA is going to do. In my opinion, the biggest thing still holding them back is the PR hit that they took last year and the look of the slabs and the label. The black looks nice on some cards. It does not look nice on all cards. I am also, and I'm not the only one, there are lots of people that are not big fans of the label. And they know this. This isn't breaking news or anything. They've heard these criticisms and complaints for a while. I think they were more concerned with getting their operations down than they were perfecting the label. I like their grading scale. I like that they have a 9, a 9.5, and a 10. It seems more fair, but when you catch a 9.5, it really sucks because their 9.5s just do not resale very well. If they can maintain turnaround times, I really think the next thing, and he says in the statement here that there's more to come. The biggest thing that they need is a slab/label redesign. Even if they want to stay with black, that's fine. But the black plastic inside the insert that it sits in just feels and looks, their slabs look and feel cheap, in my opinion, compared to some of the other ones. And the label just feels, I know that they just redid it a couple years ago. I just do not like the label. I don't like that the slabs are slightly bigger than everything else either. Like they're bigger than PSA. They're even bigger than Beckett. And there's really not a reason for it other than aesthetics, I guess. So I would like to see some slab improvements. I think HGA has proved that there is a segment of the market that cares more about how the card looks in the slab than the actual grade or the reputation of the grading company. So I think there's some improvements that SGC could do there as well. But price decrease of $30 a card, not the worst thing in the world. Like I said, there's an angle there. It can be played. You can make money. It's just, you just have to change your mindset from what you're doing with and getting from a PSA slab. And it's one thing to say, well, you know, I'll wait for PSA. But remember, a lot of these card values fluctuate fast. You send some stuff in bulk, and a lot of times you get it back, and it could be a lot lower. And I can tell you right now, when PSA reopens and they start opening submissions back up again, I don't think you're going to see a $30 submission anytime soon. So that's even longer than you're waiting on the card. And CSG's times continue to slip. And then, like I said, there's the HGA Q game. So if I had a bigger card right now, it's still going to PSA. If I had a medium to big card, I would either hold PSA or maybe try CSG or try the HGA Q, but I'm not going to sit for weeks and wait on the HGA Q. If I had something mid to lower end that I work out the numbers and I can make a profit on, say, like a 9.5, I would probably send it to SGC. The trick is making sure that you do the math. Okay, it costs $30 to grade it, plus the price of the card. And then I like to assume that I'm going to get back a 9 or a 9.5. You know, can I at least break even on 9s, make a little profit on 9.5s, and make my real profit on 10s? If that's the answer to the question when you look at the card and the comps, then, you know, maybe you shoot it off to SGC to be able to churn and burn faster. Yes, you might get a little bit less, but moving money in, taking your 20 to 30% profit, moving it into the next thing, rinsing and repeating, you know, 5 times in a 5-month period versus 1 time in a 5-month period with someone that's running a lot slower, you could definitely play that game. So I think there's a certain card for an SGC slab. I don't think you should be sending them everything under the sun, but there is a little niche there for them if you want to do that. It's not for me, but if you can make money doing it, I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to. So $30 a card is a lot better than $70. It's not as good as $20. It still makes the margins really tough, but I do think there's an angle there you can work. You can thread that needle if you want to. So that's all I got for you guys and girls today. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. All the affiliate links are down in the description below. eBay, Sports Card Investor, etc., etc. Catch you tomorrow for Marvel Mondays. Peace.